What is going on, young man? I am the over 50 guy / the online dad. Listen, on today's video, I want to talk to you guys about how to keep from falling off after you start a thing, right? How to keep from falling off after you start a thing. That, young man, I have started so many things in my life that I didn't see through to completion. There's one thing that I did, though. When I competed in bodybuilding shows, I had to get on this long diet, 4 and 5 months long. And when I look back on it, that's the only thing that, it took me a long time, and I didn't quit. I didn't give up on it. And I want to tell you guys, there's two things in that I want to pull out to show you guys how you can keep from quitting at something when you start it, right? Guys, like that diet that I would do, the bodybuilding show that I would do, the diet would sometimes be 12, 16 weeks long. I had to eat the same thing every day. I had to train like crazy, dang near every day, because I was going up on stage, right? And you couldn't bullshit with that because you would get laughed at. You're up on stage, you're next to people that, have trained really hard, they look really good, and you're up there, looking like shit. You would get laughed off the stage. So it was really serious for us back then when we were competing in these shows. So you had to be consistent in that type of thing. Young man, listen, I just created a brand new ebook. It's called 45 Days to Find Your Way. It's a 9-step transformational guide that I wish I had back in my 20s to give me a sense of direction on how to fix my life and how to take my life more serious. Listen, the book is in the video description below. If you're out here, you're lost, and you're ready to take your life serious, you need this book, all right? Now let's get back to the video. And the reason that I didn't fall off in that, young man, was 2 reasons. Number one, I understood that it was going to take me some time to get from where I was at to show condition, right? I knew that that wasn't going to happen overnight. And that's the problem that many of you have when you start a new thing, that you think that you're going to be successful at it like that, right? Instant gratification is what we call it. And a lot of you young men suffer from that. I fell prey to that when I was in my 20s. Somebody would come along and promise, you can get this, you can make this amount of money in no time flat. And you can, and by and large, young man, what I found over time is that that's bullshit. And people can sell you very easy over getting you a result quick. When in all actuality, getting results in anything, man, that is worthwhile, it takes a while. There's nothing in this world that you learn to do, whether it was school, whether it was, whatever. Like, it takes time, man. And that's where a lot of men get tripped up at in starting to do a thing. They believe that they can learn it like that. It takes no time. Again, good salespeople prey on that with people, especially when you're younger. They prey on the fact that if I can get you to think that you can have this thing just like that, you don't have to put any real work in it, you can be a millionaire and it only takes 20 hours a week and that type of thing. Bullshit. That is absolute bullshit. Young man, if you don't want to fall off, right? And this is important because many of you are going to learn a new skill. You're going to, want to start a business, become an entrepreneur, go into the gym you have to know that the results that you want in anything is going to take some time. And if anybody is trying to sell you on the fact that you can have this quick and easy, 9 times out of 10, it's bullshit, right? So again, if you want to keep from falling off on stuff, you're going to have to accept the fact, man, that when you start something new, it's going to take time to learn. You're not going to just learn it overnight, right? And a lot of times you see people, they're successful at something and, they tell you what they got, but they often don't tell you how they got there. So you think that you can start doing what they've done for a little while and get this success. What they don't tell you is they've been at this for years. They've been at this for years. The success that you're seeing, it just didn't happen yesterday, right? They've been at it for a while. So you just look at the finished product and you think that, shoot, I can do that. So I can start this thing and a month from now, I can be just like them. And when you find out that that's not the case, and that's usually where people fall off when they start something, when they finally understand and realize that, no, this ain't quick. This ain't easy. This shit actually, I got to actually put some time and work into this. You damn right you do. And that's where people usually fall off at, right? Usually fall off when they realize that it's not quick, that it does take time. Sometimes, or in some instances, a lot of time. And this is where people fall off. So you have to understand, men, that when you start something new, you go into that gym for the first time. I love to see the guys, do a set and then they go to the mirror and they're it don't work that quick. Right? You're going to have to understand that, you want to change or transform your body. It's going to take months. It's going to take months of consistent training and eating right and all of that stuff before you can see the results that you want. Same thing with learning a new skill. Same thing with starting a business. It's going to take months. So if you can understand that, then that will keep you from getting midway through the thing and being like, oh shit, this don't work. Yeah, it does work. You just have to work it over time for it to work for you. So delayed gratification is what I'm saying in all of that. You have to accept that when you are learning something new, that the results are going to take time. And when you can accept that, man, then that gets more into this next point that I am going to make about not falling off after you start something. And that is, you got to understand the learning curve, man, when it comes to starting a new thing. Now, what do I mean by the learning curve? Man, I mean that when you start something, there's a whole lot of excitement around it. It's new. I'm going to get this thing. I'll use the gym for an example. I'm going to start working out. I'm going to get big. I'm going to get jacked. I'm going to get all of this stuff. You're reading about stuff. You're going to the gym. You're learning. You're excited. And then after you start, somewhere in there, because like I said, you start, you're excited, and then you realize that this thing ain't going to happen quick. You realize that it's much more work and effort than you thought it was. So then you dip. So you have this rise of excitement, and then you have this dip. You have this low that I call it. And that's where people usually fall off in the learning curve. In the learning curve, they fall off in that low after the excitement is worn off. And what you don't understand, what I didn't understand with a lot of it, is that it's in this low where all of the learning takes place. It's in this low where you get good at a thing. You research and you understand it better. You're taking time with it if you don't fall off. It's in that low that you really, really grow, right? And then you take off again, right? And it's in that takeoff where people start to see that you've changed. You start getting results. People start noticing. People get excited for you when you start off. Hey, I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to lose this weight. And people are in your corner and they're cheering you on. And then they forget about you. They go back to life. They go back to what they're doing. The excitement wears off for you, but you still keep grinding because now you're in that low. But it's in that low that you learn how to train properly. It's in that low that you learn how to eat properly. You start asking questions. You start reading books and you start learning about this thing that you're doing. But nobody sees this. This is after all the excitement is worn off and you're in that low. Then you pop out one day and you lost 30 pounds or you look better or you're doing this thing better. Now people are like, dang, how you get like that? I want to do that. They forgot about you after the excitement wore off, but now they're seeing the result, right? And now you're seeing the result too. It is because you didn't fall off in that low where most people do. It's in that low where most people say this ain't gonna work. It's in that low where most people say, you know what, this is bullshit. I don't want to do this. This is too much work. It's hard. It sucks. This is where people normally fall off in that starting off something learning curve. Start off with a lot of excitement. Excitement wears off. You dip down into that low. And if you can just stick in that low, man, you get the result that you want. But most people fall off in that low. So, man, if you want to keep from falling off when you start something, and this is so very important, again, because you're going to have to start a lot of stuff in your life, learning a new skill, getting back into the gym, whatever, everything is going to require a start. And in order to get to the finish, you have to understand these two things. It's not going to happen fast, and you have to survive that learning curve, that start curve, as I call it. If you can do those two things, young man, you'll finish more of what you start, and you'll be more successful in the goals that you set for yourself. All right? So listen, that is all I have for today, young man. I appreciate y'all for continuing to rock with me on the channel. There's some great resources in the video description below for you guys, so definitely take a look at that. All right? As usual, I am the over 50 guy / the online dad. We'll be back with another one soon.